I think screen is visible, Neha.
Yes, so visible.
Okay, okay. So kindly remember to record the sessions.
Done, sir.
No, sir, we can't see your screen.
And dear participants, I request you all to please keep your mics muted. So you can unmute in the end. So we'll have some discussion. So the purpose of this particular session is to have an overview of the flexible and variable antennas and their applications, the related issues, what are various fabrication techniques, so what are their main issues related with design of these antennas. So we'll be having introduction of all these points. So this is the outline of the particular session. This particular session. So we'll have some basics of microstrip patch antenna, then we'll discuss what we mean by flexible variable antenna. So we'll briefly discuss various types of flexible antennas. Then we'll divide our discussion into two major types, non-textile antennas and fully textile antennas. Then we'll have discussion on some of the open issues. Then in the end, the talk will be summarized with a list of references. And if the time permitted, so we'll see some of the full length papers out of these references. So I will try to keep time for visiting full papers which I have included in the references. So because most of the participants are from antenna background, so the basics of antenna, what is antenna and what is microstrip patch antenna, so this might be known to all. But during the registration, I have this scrutiny of registration list, I have seen some of the participants which belong to certain other interdisciplinary areas. So that's why I thought of starting the talk with very basic introduction to antenna, so that those participants are also able to grasp the idea of the talk. So antenna is an essential part of any wireless communication device because it is used to radiate and receive electromagnetic radiation, preferably in the desired direction. Most of the time we want to radiate or receive from a desired direction. So this efficiency of the antenna for the device is very important, because without the efficient antenna, so that that device will not be able to create the link with the receiving device, or it will not be able to receive the information transmitted by the transmitter. So we can say that this antenna is a necessary part of any handheld or mobile wireless device. So our device can be handheld, or it can be mobile, or even it can be stationary, our device which is wearing the antenna. And the efficiency of the antenna primarily determines the quality of the wireless communication, and further this antenna characteristics determine the efficiency of the antenna. So those antenna characteristics we have to focus upon is S11, what is the return loss of the antenna, what is gain of the antenna, bandwidth in which the antenna is working, similarly radiation pattern, and such many parameters are there which we have to examine during the design of the antenna. In general, so if we say about the choice of the antenna, then the best choice of the antenna is small size planar antenna or microstrip antenna. So these are the best choices for many of the devices. So that's why we, instead of having many different types of antennas, we will be focusing our discussion on microstrip patch antennas. So this is the general structure of the microstrip patch antenna. So to understand in layman language terms, so we have two parallel conducting plates that are separated by dielectric substrate. So this assembly basically is basic assembly for our microstrip patch antenna. So let me change the pointer. Pointer options. Okay, so I think this laser pointer I was searching, so that is not available. So in this assembly, so we have two conducting plates. This conducting plate which is at the bottom, so it is called ground plane. So the thickness of these conducting plates is very small, so that's why we call this as microstrip. And this the bottom conducting plate, which is known as ground plane, and the upper this particular conducting plate, so which is called as a radiating pitch. So these two are the conducting parts of the antenna, and these two are separated by the dielectric substrate, so which has a particular thickness also. So the thickness of the top and bottom conducting plates is very small, but the thickness of the substrate layer matters. And when we say the antenna, so this is basically upper part which is radiating. So this ground plate is supporting that radiation. So without ground plane, so this ground plane has its own role. Similarly, the thickness of the substrate and the dielectric constant of the substrate. So these are the two major deciding factors about the characteristics of the antenna. So antenna radiation characteristics. So we have to pay special attention while selecting the dielectric substrates also. And this selection of the substrate is very crucial in when we discuss the field of wearable antennas or flexible antennas. So the upper conductor, which is named as radiating patch, so that may have the shape of rectangular. So if it is shape of rectangular, then we'll say that it is rectangular patch antenna. If it is of shape of say square, then square patch antenna. Similarly, we can have circular radiating patch, or we can have ring type of radiating patch, triangular radiating patch. Similarly, there can be many different designs for radiating patch. And if we are having say fractal type of radiating patch, then it will be named as fractal microstrip patch antenna. So depending upon the shape of the radiating patch, we'll name the microstrip patch antenna accordingly. So so why we go for microstrip patch antenna? Because it has many advantages. Like most important advantages is that these antennas, microstrip patch antennas, are lightweight and low volume. So these antennas are very light and the dimensions of these antennas are very compact. So we can easily integrate these antennas to the mobile devices, because if the weight of the antenna is large, then it will not be able to easily carry the device which is wearing that antenna. Low profile planar configuration. So we can easily design these antennas in planar configuration, and we can also easily design these antennas which can be pasted on the conformal host surfaces. So if our surface is not say plane, then like the field of this FDP, the wearable or the flexible antennas can be easily designed using this microstrip patch antenna design principles, which can be conformal to the host surface. And many of the fabrication techniques of these antennas are low cost, so we can fabricate these antennas with low cost fabrication process. We can integrate these antennas with MIC, so we can easily integrate these antennas with microwave integrated circuits. So then in that sense, the antenna will become part of the circuit, and it some of the part we can say in layman language will behave as antenna, and other part will work as the microwave integrated circuit for the desired function. So very popular upcoming application in this integration type of application is RF energy harvesting, where we are using antenna for RF energy harvesting application. So we use antenna to collect the RF energy, ambient RF energy. Then we need to provide that energy to rectifier, so we can easily design that integrated rectifier along with antenna, so which will then become very useful for RF energy harvesting applications also. These antennas are also capable of multi-band frequency operation, so we can design antennas which work on two or more than two bands. So same antenna can be used for different bands. So this is also possible with microstrip patch antennas. And these antennas are also mechanically robust when mounted on rigid surfaces. So these are some of the advantages of microstrip patch antenna, general advantages of microstrip patch antennas. Then the next part is flexible wearable antenna. So first thing is that why we are focusing on flexible or wearable antennas. So because nowadays we are moving towards smart devices and smart clothes. So the upcoming technology or the upcoming what we can say, the applications will require that the antenna should be part of our clothes, because that type of antenna which is part of our clothes, so that will result in interaction among people and their surrounding, so that interaction will become very easy, and that's why our antenna should be flexible. So this is one of the major reason that we are going towards the wearable or flexible devices. So these are not only for medical applications, so that interaction may be for biomedical application, or it can be simply for, say, planning their time, so, or getting the, say, inputs from the surrounding. So those type of things will be very common in the near future. So that's why we need flexible and wearable antennas in the near future. And the IoT, merging of IoT applications. So this is another reason that there is a special focus on flexible wearable antenna. So IoT applications are emerging. So we need wireless sensors for IoT, which will be part of the wearable devices or the flexible devices. So that's why we need these flexible antennas, which will be part of IoT devices. Another thing is that we need to design miniaturized and flexible energy storage and self-powered wireless components. So for the IoT applications, many times we require that those components should be self-powered. So or we should have energy storage components. So for self-powered components, the RF energy harvesting antennas are very useful for collecting the ambient energy and giving that energy to the IoT device. So that is another reason that we need flexible antennas, because those IoT devices may be wearable or flexible. So that's why that is another reason. So in general, we can say that the upcoming time will be of flexible electronic systems. So we'll be having many flexible electronic systems. So flexible electronic systems also require flexible wearable antennas, especially in terms of IoT. So according to different surveys, that it is projected that billions of devices will be connected to internet to form the IoT type of network. So these devices will be needing antennas. So these tens of billions of these sensing devices will be required in coming years. So all these devices will be needing antennas, and these antennas should be having the properties of conformability or flexibility to mount on non-planar or curved surfaces. So IoT is one special segment of applications which need flexible and wearable antennas. And these most of these antennas will be borne by humans as part of wearable sensors. And this figure typically shows one of the example of flexible wearable antenna, where we can bend the antenna, and after, say, we release the antenna, it may come to its original shape. So while bending, so there should not be any deformation to the antenna structure. So these are some of the desirable features of flexible wearable antennas, which are expected from these flexible antennas. So these antennas should be low cost. So because as we have just discussed that even only IoT applications will require billions of these wireless sensors or the antennas. So these antennas should be low cost. And the cost of the antenna should be such that if it should be like use and throw, so disposable type of thing. So many the devices may be just they may be used and then thrown. So cost of the antenna should be so low that it should be comparable to disposable type of applications. Other desirable features of the flexible antennas required are that flexibility should be large, so there should not be any deformation when we made the antenna conformal to the host surfaces. Lightweight is another. Weight of the antenna is another concern, even especially for wearable devices, human wearable devices. The size of the antenna also matters, because if size of the antenna is large, then it will not be easy to integrate that antenna with wearable devices. Similarly, these antenna should be low profile, and mechanically it should be robust and efficient. So this mechanical robustness, because many of the time those devices will be subjected to very harsh environments. So there may be continuous, say, change in temperature, or the other type of variations may be there in the physical environment. So our antenna should be robust to these mechanical deformations also, and it should behave efficiently in the presence of various types of external factors. And also at the same time, radiation characteristics should be desirable. Desirable in the sense, so if we have designed antenna for a particular application, so even in the different harsh environments, these should work desirably, and we should be, while designing, we should be able to control the radiation characteristics of antenna, so that we can design our antennas accordingly for their use. So these are some of the applications of the flexible wireless antennas. So these are mainly used for biomedical monitoring, biomedical applications, which most of the time these are used with Wi-Fi or WLAN applications also. So these are also used for beam switching detection systems, and for variable head imaging systems for, say, when these are part of the headgear for the, say, aircraft pilots, and such applications. RF energy harvesting, wearable glasses, ultra wideband. So these are some of the topics where these antennas are used extensively, but this list is not in any way complete. So we can add many different terms to these applications. And these applications may be implemented with IoT technology or by some other technologies. So if we talk of major recent research trends in the direction of flexible wearable antennas, then these 2 points are what we consider major research trends. So design of flexible and wearable antennas for different applications. So this is one of the major focus of the research work which is published during the recent years. And also the analysis of their performance when born on the human body. So when the antenna final device is to be born on the antenna, so how the antenna behaves in the when it is born by the human, and also how the antenna affects the human body. So all these effects are also important. So a lot of research is going into this direction. So these are certain major issues related to the flexible wearable antenna. So first major issue is the non-invasive and invisible. Although, as we are discussing, I have just highlighted that many of these antennas will be part of smart cloths or cloths, so which we will be naming as the smart cloths. So these smart cloths will be interacting with the environment of the person who is wearing that particular cloth. But at the same time, there is a major challenge that our antenna should be non-invasive, and it should be invisible to the user or to the person who is interacting with the user of that smart cloth. So how to make invisible antennas? So that is a major issue. So because no one will like if there are large antennas which are visible on the antenna. So these may not be very appealing to the user. So the appeal of the garment or the cloth should not be disturbed when the antenna is integrated. Another issue is durability of wearable cloths and devices. So when antenna is made part of the cloth or the wearable particular device, so especially in terms of clothes, so those clothes may be washed frequently. They may be the clothes may be ironed frequently. So how the antenna will behave when it is subjected to washing or ironing? So that is also a major challenge. So the antenna characteristics should not drift when it is subjected to the different operations as in terms of cloths. So how the antenna behaves, so that is another major issue. So antenna performance should not drift significantly with the passage of time. So, robustness to operating circumstances. This is another major issue. So, as we have just discussed earlier, also, so when the wearable or the flexible antenna is part of smart clothes or it is a part of wearable device, so the person who is wearing that particular cloth or device, so that person may be in different environments at different times. So there may be lot of pressure in or change in temperature, or there may be other types of environment effects on the antenna. So how to make antenna independent of on the surrounding environment. So that is also a major issue in terms of design of flexible wearable antenna. So mechanical deformation, I have already discussed that these are also major research issues. Upcoming research is focusing on how to analyze the effect of various mechanical deformations on the antenna performance. So this washing, ironing operations, we have just discussed that our antenna should be independent, or the antenna performance should not vary on when it is subjected to washing or ironing. So drift in RF characteristics due to banding and human body proximity, that is another major issue in terms of antenna design, because our body is a hostile environment in terms of antenna performance. So the energy is absorbed by the human body. So that energy absorbed affects the human body. So we need a SAR analysis during the design of antenna, and our antenna should meet the desired standards which have been set up by basically different bodies in terms of its SAR deposition. Similarly, how the body affects the performance of antenna, that is also major issue. So by considering all these points, so another important point which evolves from this discussion is that we cannot generalize the solution approach for flexible wearable antenna. So this the design of the flexible antennas or the wearable antennas will be an application centric approach. So for what application, in which environment, so the antenna is going to be used. So our design approach and the fabrication approach will be dependent on that also. So we cannot generalize one particular design approach for all types of antennas. So broadly, we can classify our flexible antennas into two types. So antennas which are made from textile materials, and antennas which are made from non-textile material or non-textile solutions. For antennas to be part of the accessories such as t-shirt, dresses, garments, so we need antennas which are designed or which are fabricated using textile materials. So especially when the antenna is to be integrated with such type of cloth, so then the antenna size is not a major issue, because if we are integrating with t-shirt, then there will be a lot of space available to integrate the antenna. So but in that case, other issues will be prominent. So like comfort of the user, so who is going to wear that t-shirt, so that and invisibility of the antenna, so all those things will be major issues. But if we are talking of non-textile solutions, so many times non-textile solutions or non-textile antennas are integrated with the small cloth accessories like buttons, or these may be part of glasses or jewelries, or it may be integrated with shoes or belts. So in those scenarios, then our antenna size should be very small. So that size of the antenna is very important for the antennas which are going to be part of these non-textile solutions. So from fabrication point of view, so we need at least two materials. So one, a non-conductive substrate layer, and second is a conductive material for the conductive layer. So as initially we have seen for the microstrip antenna, that we have top and bottom conducting layers, and which those two layers are separated by substrate layer. So we need at least two materials. for fabrication of the antenna. So there can be multi-layer approaches. So depending upon the antenna to be designed for specific applications. So there can be multi-layer approaches, but at the least we need these two materials. So when we say that non-textile antennas, so these are those antennas which use materials other than fabric for the substrate and or conductive part. So non-textile means at least one of the material, either for substrate or in the conductive part. So material other than fabric is used for substrate and or conductive part. So one of the material is not fabric. When we say fully textile antenna, so both the substrate and conductive parts are fabricated using and these textile materials or the fabric materials. So we'll be discussing our further discussion is mainly classified into these two categories: non-textile antennas and fully textile antennas. So in terms of non-textile antennas, so there are three broad categories. So we can have flexible copper antennas, we can have ornamental customized antennas, and we can have cluster-like antennas. So we'll be going through these three major classifications of these non-textile wearable antennas. So copper antennas basically means the conductive part is of copper. So the conductive part is designed using the copper material. So when we say this type of flexible antennas, so we can use fabrication techniques which are similar to semiconductor IC manufacturing technology. So there are we know that well-established semiconductor ICs manufacturing technology. So that same technology, similar technology, can be used for fabrication of flexible copper antennas. But that particular semiconductor IC manufacturing technology, we know that it needs clean room, it needs other type of controlled environment. So all these things add up to the cost. So this type of technology results in a high cost fabrication techniques. And that's why this is not preferred in for different applications where cost of the fabrication is very important issue. Also, in case of copper antennas, there is oxidation of the material, so due to which the performance degrades. So the performance degradation of the copper antennas for different types of fabrication techniques, that is also a major issue. So we need to keep in mind that issue also. So in addition to semiconductor IC manufacturing type of technology, there are certain low-cost alternatives which can be used for fabricating these flexible copper antennas. So adhesive copper tapes. So we can use these adhesive copper tapes to design wearable antennas. So and especially this type of designing of fabrication of wearable antennas where we use adhesive copper tape. So this is very popular type of fabrication technique and it is very low cost. But in this case, the flexibility issues are there. So these generally these copper tapes are not very flexible, and washing and ironing. And so these are other issues which need to be addressed when we are using flexible copper tapes. Second option is that we can use these copper clad laminates and we can use solid ink printer, so that also we can use this technique to design these copper antennas on flexible substrates. Adhesive copper sheets also help in fabricating low cost these copper antennas. So all these basically these adhesive type of things result in rapid and easy prototyping. So prototyping is very easy and it is very fast, but their use is limited, and we need especially we need high accuracy for when we want to design, say, for wave applications. So all these important issues need to be addressed, but cost of such techniques is very small. So this is one of the example of design of antenna for using adhesive flexible copper foil and a laser cutting machine. So when we have a particular adhesive copper tape or copper foil, so how to cut the desired antenna pattern? So that is major issue, especially when we want to design the antenna for high frequencies, because for high frequencies antenna size becomes very small. So one of the solution is that we can use the laser cutting machine. So this particular antenna which is shown in this image, so this is antenna which is printed directly on the substrate. So desired pattern is printed directly, or we can say the desired pattern is cut using the laser machine directly on the substrate. So we, in this particular design, they pasted the adhesive copper foil on the substrate. Then they use the laser cutting machine to implement the desired antenna, and then they remove the unwanted parts of the copper foil manually. So if we are using this type of laser cutting machine, then basically many fabrication issues like how to accurately paste the antenna over the substrate. So if we cut the copper tape separate to the dielectric, and then generally what we do, so we cut the antenna from the copper foil separately, and then we paste the antenna on the substrate. So during that pasting, so there may be misalignment, or there may be accuracy issues, or sometimes if antenna foil may get broken due to, say, our antenna geometry is very complex, so then certain part may get damaged during the pasting of the antenna. So such additional fabrication issues may be avoided if we use this type of particular fabrication machine. And in this paper, they have proposed a accuracy level of approximately 10 micrometers. So you can see that very high accuracy level, which is a major requirement for such high frequency applications. So this type of fabrication technique can easily result in accurate antennas. And when we are using this type of laser cutting machine, so we can have high reproducibility. So we can produce large number of antennas with same accuracy. But in such type of basically fabrication techniques, we need to be careful about the power of the laser, because when we are cutting using the laser machine, the high, if we are using very high power of the laser, so that may damage the fabric which is used as substrate for the antenna. Another example which uses the solid ink printer and flexible PCB. So this diagram, this figure shows the antenna fabricated using this particular solid ink printer. So what is done? So a wax layer is printed on the flexible PCB. So a flexible PCB has basically copper all over the region. So we need to develop this type of pattern or any type of antenna pattern on those flexible PCB. So in this particular example, they used a wax layer as the sacrificial layer. So that solid ink printer deposited that particular wax layer in the form of antenna shape on the flexible PCB. Then wet etching of the copper is done, and after the this wet etching, the material which was under that wax layer, sacrificial layer, so that remained, and all other copper was removed with the wet etching of the this particular flexible PCB. So this type of approach is very low cost and time saving. So we can implement antennas using this type of technique. But in this case, so we can compare the accuracy. So in earlier laser cutting of example, we have seen that we can achieve that accuracy up to 10 micrometers. So here the accuracy was around 250 micrometers. So this was not that accurate. But this is more suitable for lower frequency applications like microwave frequency range applications. So this we can easily design antennas where the antenna design is relatively large as compared to the earlier application. Then this is another technique of fabricating the copper antenna. So where these authors have used the cutting plotter. So what they have done, they used the copper tape or copper sheet adhesive copper tape, and they use the cutting plotter to cut the desired pattern of the antenna. And then after the layout is shaped on copper by cutting machine, so the extra part is removed manually and the desired antenna is pasted. So This particular technique is also a low cost technique, and it also saves time, because we can use this cutting plotter to implement the antenna. So typically this cutter plotter resolution is of the order of 250 micrometer, but when the antenna lines or the antenna geometry involves very fine lines, so it is suggested that we should use antenna lines which are larger than 500 micrometer to avoid fabrication defects. So very small lines can result in fabrication defects. So if we are okay with such type of accuracy, then we can also use this type of cutting plotters. So these were the common techniques used for the copper antennas. Then we have next category of ornamental antennas. So this basically these ornamental antennas are highly embeddable solutions. So when the antenna we want to embed in particular wearing accessory, say we want to design antenna which maybe we want to integrate with the button or other such type of basically clothing object, then we can we can go for the ornamental antennas. So these antennas are specifically designed to copy small clothing objects. So in ornamental antennas, so the antenna shape is copied from the clothing object, so that antenna can be easily integrated with that clothing object. And while fabrication, those clothing items are modified so that they contain the antenna, and then that particular antenna becomes the part of that particular clothing object. So metal button antenna is one very common example which can be found from the literature. So in metal button antenna, so generally these antennas are mounted on the textile jacket, or say textile, what we can say, the cloth. So these such type of metal button antennas may be fabricated by say placing the antenna on brass button. So if the say particular that clothing object or jacket, say this one particular example which I am taking, so they used that brass button on the textile jacket. So they used two copper discs with a thickness of 3 mm and separated by a layer of this particular polytetrafluoroethylene. So this particular substrate was used to separate those copper discs, and then those copper discs were placed on the brass button. So then that antenna was designed as metal button antenna. So that's why name metal button antenna, because it was integrated or pasted on the brass button. So basically, this antenna was designed for the variable application in the WL band. So 2.4 gigahertz and 5.2 gigahertz WLAN bands were targeted by this particular design. So this type of antenna is also possible for variable type of thing. Then this is another example of ornamental antenna, where a transparent and flexible monopole antenna was embedded into the glasses. So we can see from this diagram that this antenna was made part of the glasses, and as it was transparent, so it was not easily visible to the, what we can say, the user, or to a person who is interacting with the person who is wearing these glasses. So here you can see that this antenna was pasted here at the front glass, and then the other part, the ground plane and the this feeding structure, so this was integrated with the one side leg of these particular glasses. So this antenna was designed to work at 2.45 gigahertz frequency, and the designer of these antenna, they fabricated these antenna using a transparent and conductive film of which composed of 100 nanometer thick indium zinc tin oxide. So this is particular material which can be used for implementing transparent antennas. So if we are adding this term transparent, then this also adds another requirement that antenna should not only be flexible, it should also be implemented or the fabricated using the material which is transparent, so which is not visible to the persons. In this particular solution which has been shown here, so they used this particular polyimide material as the substrate. So this was an antenna which belongs to ornamental type of category. Then 3D printed antennas is also very important part of these ornamental antennas, or even in this FDP, we are focusing especially on 3D printed antennas. We have multiple sessions in which we will be talking of different 3D printed techniques and how to print these 3D antennas. These 3D printed antennas gave us the advantage of implementing very compact antennas also. So that's why this technique is coming. This technique, 3D printing technique for antenna, is proving itself a very promising fabrication techniques. So which can be used for wide range of electronic devices. So we can easily fabricate various customized type of wearable antennas using this 3D printing technique. And this technique especially has the features of fast prototyping. So once we have the design, we can prototype it very fast using the 3D printing printers. So we can have reasonable accuracy. So we, with the availability of high accurate, high resolution printers, so we can get desired accuracy. Similarly, this technique is a fully 3D topology. So this technique results in a fully 3D topology where we can even print all the in 3 dimensions, and we can print all the 3 layers. And also the cost of fabrication is not very large when we talk of 3D printed antennas. This particular example which is shown, so here this particular substrate material is printed using the 3D printing or the additive manufacturing technique. So on that particular substrate, the adhesive copper sheet is used to implement this antenna, which is shown in the figure. So this is one example. So what we can also have printers where we can print all the layers, this metal layer as well as the substrate layer. Especially 3 sessions are there in which we will be talking on different options of printing 3D and fabricating or designing 3D antennas. Then third category of these non-textile antennas is the plaster-like antennas. So these antennas are generally implemented on polymeric substrates, so which are used for wearing directly on the skin. So most of the plaster type antennas are designed to directly born on the human skin. So these antennas require high flexibility. Flexibility is a major issue, and these polymeric substrate, especially PDMS. So this PDMS has attracted a large interest, a particular interest in this field of plaster-like antennas, so which results in helps in implementing flexible and stretchable antennas. So this flexibility is high flexibility is required from this type of antennas. So because these antennas are placed directly on the skin, so these antennas are also called epidermal antennas. So these antennas are can be used for real-time and continuous wireless measurement. So that's why these antennas are especially used in sports and health monitoring applications. So when these are pasted or placed on directly on the skin, so we can have very easily we can have real-time and continuous measurements of the different parameters of the person who is wearing these antennas. So there are different types of fabrication techniques found in literature for these epidermal or plaster-like antennas also. So I will be introducing some of those techniques. So in the literature, I have found one technique in which this thin gold film was used on PDMS substrate to implement this plaster-like antenna. So gold film was used on this PDM substrate. Also, there are examples of using conductive silver inks. So conductive inks are also used on PDMS substrate. So film, then second option is ink. So, and third option is we can have adhesive copper tape, which is integrated with say particular substrate. So this example shows an antenna where this adhesive copper tape is integrated with biocompatible silicon layer. So then after pasting that adhesive copper tape on the this particular biocompatible substrate, the antenna V-ring is also shown in this diagram. So antenna is borne by the person on the arm. So this type of antenna is also reported in the literature. So where adhesive copper tape is used on the biocompatible substrates for on-skin applications. So this particular example was for the RFID tag, which was born by the human directly on the arm. Now we are going to discuss the second category of these flexible antennas, which are fully textile antennas. So when we say fully textile antennas, both the substrate and conductive parts are implemented using textile fiber or fabrics. So when we are having both these parts implemented using the fabric or these fibers, so it is very easy to integrate with the cloths, because in integrating the adhesive copper tapes or the other 3D printed solutions, so relatively the advantage of integrating fully textile antenna will be more as compared to the non-textile antennas. These antennas are also result in antennas which are very flexible and lightweight. But when we say these antennas, fully textile antennas, so we say that both the parts are implemented using the textile part. So we need accurate EM characterization of the fabric, which is being used for the substrate or for the conducting part. In general, electric permittivity and loss agent is very small for the fabrics. So we have to keep in mind that if we want to implement antennas, say with large bandwidth, or for that we want to control the antenna radiation characteristics, so this low relative permittivity and loss agent will not help us in controlling those values. Also, the range of the permittivity is very narrow for different types of fabrics which are available, which we can use for the antennas. So we are not able to play with these electric permittivity or the loss agent or the permittivity because of the small range. So if we want to tune the antenna, we want to design antenna for the desired radiation characteristics, then thickness of the fabric will play a key role. Generally, we know that those fabrics are also very small in thickness, so many times we may have to use multiple layers of the fabric. So we need to integrate multiple layers of the fabric to get the desired thickness for the substrate to implement, say, large bandwidth solution. So the thickness of the fabric or the multi-layering of the fabric will play the key role in designing these fully textile antennas. Then comes the issue of, if we are, say, implementing multiple layer substrates, then how to characterize those fabrics. So that is another major issue. So this characterization, RF characterization of various fabrics is a major issue which we have to deal with while designing the fully textile antennas. Some of the common fabrics which are used for these antennas, so those EM characterizations of the EM parameters of those materials are available in literature. But if we are going for new materials or we are changing the thickness of the substrate, then we need to characterize anew. So some of the major challenges in the domain of fully textile antennas include dielectric properties variation due to environment. So many times when we say fabric, so there is a continuous exchange of moisture from the with the environment. So sometimes the moisture level of the environment is low. Sometimes there is a high moisture level in the environment. So the fabric will be continuously subjected to the different levels of the moisture, especially if we talk of the environment. So due to this continuous exchange of moisture, or what we can say the water, so there may be variations in the dielectric properties of the that particular fabric. So how to deal with these dielectric properties? So that is major challenge, variations. Another thing is these fabrics are porous materials. So even with the application of small or low value of pressure, there may be change in thickness and density of the particular fabric which is being used for implementing the these antennas. So these are also major challenges how to deal with the pressure. So because there may be applications where there is high pressure is exerted on the antenna or on the wearable device which is having that integrated antenna. So that this is also a major challenge. So, what is the idea that there will be variations in the performance of the antenna due to these environmental effects? So, how our antenna behaves, how the various antenna parameters vary. And, so, to determine that, we should have an accurate sensitivity analysis during the design of the antenna before integrating that antenna with the what we can say the wearable device. So there are also issues of integrating different components with the of the wearable system into the cloth. So it is not only antenna. So if antenna is a part of a particular wireless system, so all the components may be needed to the may be needed to be integrated with the cloths. So how to integrate all those components is also a major challenge. So these two approaches are suggested for easy integration of these components with the cloths. So in literature, so use of tin soldering and the surface integrated waveguide technology is suggested to overcome these integration of wearable system into cloths. Power consumption is also a major issue. So when an antenna or a wearable device is used, so most of the time those antennas are battery powered. So if large power is absorbed or the large power is consumed, then the replacing or the recharging of battery is a major issue. In this direction, energy harvesting techniques are proposed in some of the research papers published recently that we can use energy harvesting techniques to charge or the power the wireless devices which are being integrated with the wearable devices. So under this category, fully textile antennas, we have these three broader classifications. So we can classify antennas, either embroidered antennas or e-textile based antennas, and finally inkjet and screen printed antennas. So we'll slightly discuss these three different classifications. So when we say embroidered antenna, so that means antennas are implemented in the form of embroidery on a particular cloth. So that embroidery is done using the conductive wires or the conductive threads, or we may use this term as conductive yarns. So those conductive wires or those conductive threads may be multi-filament threads or monofilament threads. So these are two major categories of those conducting wires or conductive threads. And these two categories of multifilament and monofilament. So these differ in electrical properties, durability, comfort, reliability, as well as mechanical properties. So uh, these all properties are different for these two categories. So mainly when we are using this embroidered antenna, so we are using these conductive threads for wearable applications. So depending on the desired applications, we may choose multi-filament or monofilament type of thing. So the important research trends in this field of embroidered antennas is to determine the electrical and mechanical properties of conductive threads. So how after the implementation of a particular design using these threads. So how, what are the electrical and mechanical properties of that design? So that these are major research issues in the field of embroidered antennas. Similarly, sewability of washing durability. So when we are say embroidered, so most of the time, so those antennas are implemented using sewing machines type of fabrication technique. So sewability capability, and similarly these cloths are subjected to washing. So how these fabrics behave, fabric antenna behaves after the when it is subjected to washing. So that these are also determining of these effects is also a major trend. So in case of embroidered antennas, so this determining these properties of mechanical, electrical properties is major issue. So because in when we say electrical issues, so first thing is to how to determine the resistance of that conductive wire which is used, because most of the time resistance as DC is specified in the data sheet manufactured by the prepared by the manufacturer, but we need to determine those say resistance values and other electrical parameters at microwave frequencies, at frequencies where we are using those antennas. Similarly, conductive yarn are preferred over the conductive wire. So because when we say conductive wire, so basically we refer to conductive solution which is having say more characteristics more towards related to wires. When we say conductive yarn, so these are the conductive solutions which have the properties more equivalent to the normal yarn. So those yarns will be easy to sew and it will be easy to implement embroidered antennas using conductive yarns. Also, major effect is there on the design of antennas with respect to the direction of the stitches. So when we are doing the embroidery, so direction of stitches also influences the current flow. So because generally current tends to follow the stitches direction rather than jumping between the threads. So if there is a large density of the stitches, then the antenna efficiency may be improved. So, but if the efficiency is of the density of the stitches is small, so say one line of stitches is very having this large distance from the second line, so then current will just pass through the conductive threads. So then that antenna's efficiency will be small. So direction of stitches or the type of stitches which are used for implementing the embroidered antennas, so that is also very important. The fabrication process used for these embroidered antennas typically use digitally controlled sewing machines, and when we say embroidered antennas, and generally we deal with the complex geometries. So these digitally controlled machines need those conductive yarns which have high flexibility and strength, because otherwise there will be breakage of the thread during the fabrication process, because due to these digitally controlled sewing machines, these threads or the conductive yarns are subjected to high tension. So all due to these fabrication issues, mass production of is difficult in case of embroidered antennas, but it is feasible to fabricate these antennas using these sewing machines. Also, another important requirement from these embroidered antennas that it should be highly embeddable and washable. And to achieve this embeddable type of characteristics, what is suggested in literature is that we should have conductive path and textile substrate as one block, or there should be seamless integration. There should be these should be integrated together as it should look like a single blocks. That's why there are different embeddable or techniques which are used for implementing these two layers as seamless blocks. And there should be, when we are using integrating these two techniques as a seamless block or as one block, so then in that case glues or adhesive layers may not be required, but most of the time we use glues or adhesive layers to integrate these two layers. Also, the repeated washing may lead to deterioration of threads conductivity. So to avoid that, there may be use of protective coating. So use of protective coating, protective layers on the antennas is also suggested in literature, so that the deterioration due to repeated washing is less. Then the next part of these textile antennas is e-textile based antennas. So when we say e-textile based antennas, so we refer to the antennas which are implemented using conductive fabrics. So we have different types of conductive fabrics which differ in conductivity. They have different thickness, they have different flexibility level, they have strength is different, and similarly different properties are there. So according first thing is we need to select the desired conductive fabric for implementing the antenna. Yes, so there are also availability of self-adhesive e-textiles which can be used for fabricating wearable devices. So such type of self-adhesive e-textiles are easy to integrate with the substrate or with the wearable device. So and it results in fast fabrication process. But in terms of e-textile antennas, so there is a specific requirement that there should be very low value of the electrical surface resistivity. Typically, it should be less than 1 ohm per square meter. So this is very specific requirement when we say that we want to use a e-textile type of this antenna. So there are two major options or the types of e-textile based antenna. So first thing is that when there is conductive coating or there is plating. So we have a thread. So we have a non-conductive thread. So we implement the design. Then those threads are coated with conductive material. All the type of plating is done. So if we are using this type of fabrication or the implementation techniques, so then there are issues that this coating is most of the time it is not uniform, so that the whole structure is not plated. So that particular issue is there, and there may not be continuous conductive path when we are using this conductive coating, and also this sheet resistance will be more when we are using this coating type of thing. So this results in high sheet resistance, and inhomogeneity of the sheet resistance is another major issue. It is not only thing that sheet resistance is high, but it is also homogeneous. So the second technique is interweaved conductive fibers, that we have conductive fibers which are interweaved with the cloths when we are implementing the material. That particular textile. So if these are interweaved conductive fibers, then this requirement of low resistivity are easily achievable, and we have more homogeneous sheet resistance as compared to conductive coatings or conductive plating. So there are different types of fabrication methods which are used for implementing e-textile based antennas. So hand cutting is one solution. So where the desired antenna pattern is cut using the hand or manual cutting is there. So such type of cutting is easy, so it is low cost, but the resolution issues are major issues which need to be taken care, because if we want to fabricate antennas of very small size and we want to implement complex geometries, then we cannot achieve that type of resolution which can be achieved using the automatic machines or other types of machines. So these antennas are impracticable solutions for complicated geometries. But yes, for simple geometries, we can easily cut our conductive fibers and we can design our antennas. So for the better accuracy, what is suggested in the literature is that we should use the certain types of machines. So these may be laser machines, or these may be other types of cutting machines, so which are say automatic machines. So these machines result in better accuracy, and most of the time these techniques machines are computer controlled machines, so we can easily duplicate the geometries and we can produce our desired antennas at large scale. But for practical or say implementing prototype, if that high resolution is not required, so then that hand cutting is low cost and easy solution. So another major issue in e-textile based antenna is the assembly process, because most of the time we design our antenna separately from the dielectric part, which is used there for the complete assembly. So assembly process, if the conductive part is designed separately from the dielectric, so that is a major issue. So there are main three assembly methods which are used. Either we can use the glues, or we can use the swing type of operations, or we can use the adhesive sheets, so which can be pasted. So we'll slightly discuss these in more detail. So when we are talking of glue-based methods, so thin film of glue is impractical. So if we want to assemble the antenna with very thin film, so then glue method will not be practical method. And generally these glues, after these glues are used, so these become stiff. So when that antenna is used as the, say, cloth, so then there will be comfort issues. So we have to compromise the antenna flexibility as well as wearability. So due to stiffness of the glue, so there will be flexibility issues. Due to uncomfort to the user, so there will be wearability issues. When we say swing type of option, so and then these swing machines are used. Some of the time we use the swing machines which are used for non-conductive threads for stitching. So we cannot use those type of non-conductive swing machines to assemble these antennas. So what basically we do using non-conductive thread for stitching. So in literature it is proposed that the antenna part which is designed on the conductive fabric, so that is stitched with the substrate by using the non-conductive thread. So the non-conductive thread is used for assembly purpose. So using these non-conductive threads, so antenna is sewed with the substrate material. So this method is also proposed in literature, but this method is not recommended for thick substrates, because the stitches will exert pressure on the substrate. So sometimes it could permanently compress the substrate, and the desired substrate parameters may get vary. So there may be issues of drift in values of permittivity and the resonance frequency if we are using this type of assembling process. Third option is use of adhesive sheets. So we can use adhesive sheets. We can use those conductive fibers which are self-adhesive. So we can easily paste those adhesive sheets on the substrate. But in such cases, there may be issues of accuracy. So accurate alignment of different, basically, parts of the antenna with the substrate. So those may be issues if we are using the complex antenna geometries. But there are certain advantages of this adhesive sheets method. So we have a uniformly deposited thin layer of the conductive textile, so which is basically achieved by the ironing process. And when we use this type of adhesive sheet, so the sheet resistance and substrate permittivity is not affected, because we are just pasting the adhesive sheet on the substrate. But we need to be careful during the sticking or the process about the alignment. And if we are using the ironing process for pasting, so then during that ironing process we have to be extra careful. So stitching is more flexible and it presents lower losses than adhesive layer, but that is recommended for only thin substrates. And the advantage of adhesive sheets is that these are faster and easier assemblies, and we can easily scale these adhesive sheets at the industrial level. Under the e-textile based antennas, there is one special category of non-woven conductive fibers. So just now what we have talked is, so those were the woven conductive fibers. So there are also options of non-woven conductive fibers. So we can have antennas based on these. So these NWCFs are basically fabric-like materials, so which are arranged or bonded together by chemical, mechanical, or heating processes. So those are not, so weaving process is not used to arrange these non-woven conducting fibers. So these fibers have properties similar to those of e-textile. So there are wide variety of types available for these non-woven conducting fibers. So we can have adhesive bag solutions. So this diagram shows two antennas which have been implemented using this NWCFs. So the many parameters which we have just discussed for e-textile, so those issues are also applicable to these non-woven conducting fibers. The major difference between these conductive fibers and these non-woven conducting fibers is that we are not using the weaving process to arrange these types of materials. Then we are now coming to the last category, which of these textile antennas. So inkjet and screen printed antenna. So we have one special session by Dr. Atif Shamim. So who will be discussing various issues related to inkjet and screen printing. So in this fabrication or this implementation technique, antenna layout is directly printed on the textile substrate. So this technique is very fast and very easy. So in this, this technique is similar to printing normal our prints using the printer. So that type of methodology is followed, where solid instead of simple inks we use conductive inks. So use of conductive inks is proposed to directly print the antenna on the fabrics. So in this case, major issues are of resolution and surface roughness. So when we want to print the antenna geometries which have very small size elements or the parts, so the resolution of the printer matters a lot. Also, after the printing, what is the smoothness or the roughness of the surface? So that is also important. So even the roughness of the substrate on which the printing is done, so that also affects the properties of the fabricated antenna. So there are industrial screen printers available, so which can be used for getting accuracies in the terms of the order of 50 micrometer or 200 micrometer. So in this range, so many industrial printers are available, so which can be used for such type of implementations. So these techniques are more suitable for wearable applications up to 3 gigahertz. So because achieving very high accuracy is not so easy if we are using this inkjet and screen printed type of fabrication technique. So these techniques in literature are suggested to be more suitable for wearable applications for relatively low frequency applications. So not for waves types of applications. Also, there are washing and durability issues for conductive inks. So in literature, the performance of these screen printed antennas and e-textile based antennas, these performance to washing issues or the durability issues has been compared. And the wearable antennas which were compared, so those had the protective coatings for resisting the washing issues. So, and it has been seen that screen printed antennas show more stable behavior even after repeated washing. So in terms of washing issues of the wearable antennas, so it has been observed that screen printed antennas are better even when those wearable antennas or the e-textile based antennas had protective coatings to save it from the washing issues. So if we now discuss the open issues in this direction, so there are many open issues. So some of those issues are how to seamlessly integrate electronics parts and wearable accessories. So this is a major issue. So not only design or the fabrication of antenna, so after fabrication, so we have to integrate that antenna for other electronic parts and wearable accessories. So how to achieve that integration. So that is a major issue in this direction. Development of new materials for flexible substrate and antennas is another major issue. So where this 3D printing or as our director during the inaugural address, they specified that we have to integrate with material science peoples or the researchers which are working on nanomaterials. So this is a other major issue. So how to develop new materials. So where maybe as antenna researchers we may not be technically so sound to deal with the materials. So we need to take help of the material science people. So this is a major issue. New design methods are proposed for different types of wearable antennas. So that this is also a major issue. So what can be the easy and fast design methods or the fabrication methods using which we can implement these flexible antennas. These, when we say these antennas, as we are discussing repeatedly, so these antennas are not subjected to the same type of environment. So the antennas are subjected to different environments. So how to optimize different figures of merits under varied operating environment, that is another major issue which needs to be addressed during the design of the antenna itself. So we need to perform accurate sensitivity analysis before finalizing the design of the antenna, in which depending upon the environment in which it is going to be used. Analysis of on-body performances. So and when antenna is part of wearable device, so it will be borne by the human. So what will be the effect of the body on the antenna, and what will be the effect of the that wearable device on the body? So all these issues are also need to be addressed. So we need to have accurate or analysis methods for getting these effects. Experimental validation of flexible antennas is a major issue, because most of the time we use this, we design these antennas for wearable applications. So we need to validate these antennas in actual usable conditions. So sometimes if we are say designing for harsh environments, so then we need to take that design antennas for validation. We have to create that type of environment. So there are these experimental testing issues are also there for during the design of these antennas. So now to summarize the today's this session. So what we have discussed, so in the starting we have discussed that there is a new requirement of these flexible and wearable antennas due to the focus on the property that antennas should be able to bend into the desired structure or the desired curvature. So especially this requirement is generated by the wearable devices or the wearable sensors, and the resulting especially from the IoT applications. And we have also seen that these antennas should be low cost, because we have discussed that billions of devices will be going to be connected to the internet, billion of wearable devices. So all these devices will be having antennas. So the cost should be so low that it should be comparable to the disposable cost. We should not consider about the cost of antenna, say if we want to discard that particular wearable device. And we have discussed two main categories of antennas: non-textile antennas and fully textile antennas. Under the non-textile antennas, we focused on antennas which are generally made part of 3D solutions, such as glasses or buttons or other say bracelets or other objects which are worn by the humans. And the main characteristic in case of 3D this non-textile solutions is that we need to design antennas which should have the small size. So the reduced size is main characteristic of non-textile antennas. So in this we have seen different fabrication techniques, and out of those techniques, this additive 3D printing is a promising manufacturing technique for fabricating non-textile antenna, which is coming up as a very good solution. So we have discussed those techniques also. And we discussed our non-textile antennas under these three categories: flexible copper antennas, ornamental antennas, and plaster-like antennas, which are used for direct application on the skin. Then we have also discussed these fully textile antennas. So fully textile antenna means those antennas which are using the fabric solutions for both the conductive and non-conductive part. So conductive part as well as non-conductive part is implemented using the fabrics or the conductive yarns or the conductive wires. So these antennas are specially designed for integration with the cloths. So non-textile antennas may be designed for other applications also, but fully textile antennas are mainly designed for integration with the cloths. And we have seen discussed these antenna characteristics under different heads. So we have focused on embroidered antennas, e-textile based antennas, and under which we also discussed non-woven conductive fiber based antennas. And in that we have discussed inkjet and screen printed antennas. And there are many issues. So, but the major issues related to operating frequency we have just discussed is that if we are talking of high frequencies applications like wave applications, then we have to specially focus on the resolution issues of the geometry. So while fabrication, we should select the fabrication technique which gives us high spatial resolution. So because we need high spatial resolution during the applications which are designed for waves or high frequencies. So generally the techniques which give us high resolution, so those are generally expensive techniques. So we have to focus on the creating low cost solutions for fabricating such type of antennas. But if we talk of the microwaves or the frequencies, sub gigahertz frequencies or the frequencies which are say like up to a few gigahertz, so then there are many different techniques which are low cost as well as time saving manufacturing techniques. So we can easily use those techniques for implementing or the fabricating antennas working at these frequencies. Also, we have discussed that robustness of antenna is very important. So we have to analyze the different characteristics of the antenna so that our antenna is able to work in variable operating conditions, such as what type of surface is there on which we are going to be use those antennas. So what is the curvature and other issues dependent on the operating conditions. So that should also be considered while designing the antennas, that our antenna should be robust. That means our antenna should be antenna characteristics should not vary depending upon these operating conditions. So for this making our antenna independent on these operating conditions, so there should be a proper choice of antenna geometry. So that is another major issue. So sometimes meeting these requirements may add up to the cost. So we may result in a solution which is meeting these different issues, but the cost may be large. So we have to also keep in mind the cost issues. So durability of the antenna when embedded in clothing, that needs special attention. So because cloths are subjected to washing and ironing operation, so these are washing and ironing are the two major operations to which the cloths are subjected. So how to deal with these operations, so that is also major issue. So we have just discussed that in literature there is use of protective coatings, so which may save the antenna from repeated washing operations. And similarly, there may be issues of stitching the conductive parts to the textile substrate by means of non-conductive threads. So when during the assembly, if we are using non-conductive threads to assemble the conductive and non-conductive parts, so there should be special attention to that stitching operation, because if we are using these stitching operations, then the pressure exerted by those stitches may result in the change in the radiation properties. So we may sometimes use ironing operation for assembling the conductive and non-conductive part, especially implementing antennas which are embedded into the cloths. So these are the major references which I referred for designing the slides of this particular talk. So this first paper contains the major part of the slides which I have just discussed. So there are also references parts from the other papers. So with this, thank you very much for your patience during the this talk. So what I have tried, so I have tried to highlight various issues so which are there. So our most of the lectures will be addressing these issues, so which I have highlighted, because what I have highlighted is so those are issues, so to which there are speakers which are devoting full session. So like if we talk of 3D printing, so there is a full session on 3D printing. Similarly, inkjet printing, so there is a full session on inkjet printing. Similarly, how to fabricate antennas using adhesive tapes and other things. So that then there is also a special session on those things. So I have tried to provide an overview, so which will be elaborated by different experts during these 5 days.